we were, you know, living by the rules and doing good things, but it was totally, the freakiest thing is to be apart from God and not even know it. And it can happen. So Tim had a really strong desire to return to church. And I'm like, really? I've gained some weight and I don't know those people anymore. You know, you do all those things. I got to get a haircut and, you know, they haven't seen me in a few years. And, okay, well, maybe we'll start going back to church. And so we did. Best thing that ever happened to us. Kind of met God yet again. But still, I'm an administrator by God's gifting, by the way. I'll give him credit for that. But I kept wanting to see problem-solving this for myself. And I'm looking at 5 years in prison. So I get to thinking, okay, what about my family for 5 years? What happens to them? I've got a child who has special needs, and I have a kid in high school, and I got a husband, and, you know, what happens to my marriage? Do I gracefully let that go? You know, these things start going through your head. Can I ask him to wait for 5 years? Is a long time. So all this stuff is going through my mind, and I'm laying things out for my family. If, you know, Al has these needs, you do this, and all of that, because I had been all of those things to all these people. And so then we prepare for trial. And 10 days is like a lifetime. When people are saying all kinds of very interesting things about you, and you're like, wow, pretty soon you hear it enough, you're like, am I that person? I didn't think I was that person. But, you know, when you intertwine with the world enough, and that now is the people that you're with, you learn who your friends are, and they change very quickly. So, anyway, it was an incredible 10 days. And again, remember, you get a jury of your peers. Wow, who defines that anyway? A jury. This is supposed to be people who have walked this walk and already been on this journey, and they know what you do. That is the jury of your peers. I'm thinking they're like you. There's nobody on this jury that ever had been in my shoes, and they were going to make some pretty heavy decisions about me. So 10 days of trial. They had 30-some witnesses, most of which were all my former employees, and we had 3. Because the charge was, with fraud, it's intentional. You're doing this to intentionally take and steal and whatever. And so all we had to say was, no, we didn't, you know, and that was it. The truth shall set you free, amen? But only if God is in it, right? So 10 days, I wait, you know, and then the jury goes out. What do you do after that? Because you have been going through the motions, and you're working hard and seeing this thing through, and then the jury's out. No more argument, no more defense. The jury's out. I go home, and I'm sitting in my living room. The house was quiet. I don't even know where the rest of the family was. Keep in mind, you do not do these things alone. This is not your own private journey. You're either dragging people along, or you're pushing them along, or whatever. And we kind of laugh at our house, because I've always viewed my life as a roller coaster. You know, got some of this and that. And so I'm riding the roller coaster going, woo! And I said, Tim, what did you think about the last few years? I white-knuckled my way through it, you know. So we're on the same roller coaster, but very different impressions of the ride, right? So my hands are in the air, and I'm screaming, and he's just hanging on for dear life. It doesn't affect just the people around you. There's collateral damage, and sometimes collateral blessing, because sometimes we think, was this about him? Or was this about me? And, you know, God can bless both ways. Well, when my business was shut down, or when I closed it, I like to look at it that way. I chose to close. Tim was self-employed too. So my check stopped. He was self-employed. Things got really, really hard. And they started coming and getting our things, our cars. We lost our house. We had a home, 12 acres out in the country. We lost a lot of stuff, so now we kind of say, you know, God was just preparing us for this economic crisis that we're in, because now we don't have anything to lose, so whatever happens, happens. That refining has already taken place, right? So we lost our things, And what am I doing? I'm thinking, wow, I'm having a Job experience. Right? Oh, how arrogant of me. Arrogance, right? First chapter of Job, the best part of the whole story for me. Jesus says what? Consider my friend Job. That's relationship. I wasn't having a Job experience. I'm still getting some of the consequences that, maybe should have been coming to me just because God needed to let me know He's in charge, not me. So back in my living room, all by myself, had this little thin blanket on me, felt like I had an anvil sitting on my chest. My fate was not in my hands anymore. And I'm sitting there and it's quiet and I hear, "This is your Gethsemane." Wow, and it's like somebody is in the room saying it. It was so clear to me. So, what I want to tell you, nothing about Christ's life on earth happened, just because. It was all part of amazing design. Nothing He did was accidental. He already was in Gethsemane because I needed to be in my own Gethsemane. He was there first. He already felt this pain, this fear. And He is already saying, God, it's not for me to decide, it's for you to decide. And so here we are. I'm finally saying, yep, this is all